2024 marks the 150th anniversary of the birth of the Scottish colourist John Duncan Fergusson in Leith, in Edinburgh, not far from Lyme and Turnbull. And we thought we would celebrate that fact, first with a touring exhibition of loan works from private collections in our London and Glasgow galleries, and now with a special focus on his legacy in our 6th of June 2024 Scottish Paintings and Sculpture Sale.
Yes, so we've gathered together a selection of, unlike some of his fellow colourists, he was very much a polymath. And so we've got drawings, watercolours, some sculpture, which is very exciting, and of course his paintings.
That's right. And a lovely sketchbook, which you see just here, which I think is a very personal way to understanding an artist, and would slip it in his pocket, sketch people in the cafes around him. And in fact, there's a whole series of lovely self-portraits in the sketchbook as well.
The painting we're showing here is the Boulevard Edgar Quinet, which was where he first lived when he moved to Paris. Is that right?
That's right. So really, more than any other British artist, let alone Scottish, Fergusson plays a role in the birth of modern art in Paris before World War I. And he moves over in 1907, and his first studio is on the Boulevard Edgar Quinet. And this beautiful painting comes from a series of street scenes of the French capital, where he's almost getting to know this new place where he is now enjoying the architecture, the weather, the citizens of the city. And I think you feel that enthusiasm in works like this, and their gorgeous colours.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I love the way he's actually put the paint on. I describe it almost as toothpaste. It's got that lovely creamy texture, which I like so much. And it's interesting to look at these two pieces of sculpture because, as I said before, none of the other colourists were involved with sculpture. These have interesting stories. The goat in particular, I think it's lovely.
The goat is sweet because Ferguson's future wife, the dance pioneer Margaret Morris, held a summer school for her pupils in Harlech in Wales. And there's a particular breed of goat that lived there with these lovely tufted fur legs. And Fergusson was very taken with them, did lots of sketches, and when they got back home, he created in an early form of plasticine the work which has been cast that we see before us.
Yeah, and it's a lovely personal reminiscence of a very special time for him. And then, of course, the nude.
So this dates from 1918, but was cast in an edition in 1991, a posthumous edition. And this shows how he had a lifelong, deep and frank appreciation of the female form, but shows how he, again, was looking at avant-garde art of the time. And these all speak to movements like the vorticist.
Yeah.
And of course, he knew vorticists like Wyndham Lewis, who was a member of the Margaret Morris Club that Ferguson's partner ran alongside her dance school and theatre in Chelsea.
Yeah. And I think he found it quite tough, didn't he, with his sculpture, that he would create a piece and then it would sort of sit to one side until he had enough money to actually have the piece found.
That's right, because casting is an expensive process. So Fergusson made an exhibit sculpture for some 50 years.
No.
But what he would often do is exhibit the plaster and explain that the collector was to pay for the casting.
So here we have an example of Fergusson, also painted in 1909, a view of Montgeron. And I believe there's a study somewhere, is it?
The sister piece on a larger scale is in Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum. And the size of the work between us suggests that it may have been painted on plein. You could carry around supports of this size and respond immediately to the scene in front of you.
Yes, I think this was a favourite spot for Fergusson. And he also travelled quite extensively in France. He went to Royan, I believe, with Petlot, indeed. I think they painted together.
That's right. And Cassis and the Cap d'Antibes in general became important for him. When he left Paris in 1913, he said he wanted to go south for more sun and more colour.
And that's absolutely what he got. And he and his future wife, Margaret Morris, were to spend considerable amounts of time in Antibes for the rest of their lives.